Okay, recording this video after close of trade Wednesday, 25th of April 2012. Hope you had a good day's trading day. Only about 7¾ points of range top to bottom on the day session. 1.5 million contracts traded. It's one of these purple bars, which is a high volume churn bar plus a climax up bar. Just think we're finding it a little bit difficult to get through that kind of previous high. Don't know if we're going to test back down, try and close that gap, but we've got to run pullback to end of trend on the daily chart here. Pullback to end of trend on this cyclical kind of swing on better sine wave. So got a few days to run before that resistance area kind of comes in. Question is this going to break through 1410, 1420 and kind of keep going? Just show you my charts on the euro and the dollar index because I think they're quite interesting. But for the meantime, 45-minute chart, we've broken above resistance here. We put in our bottom with exhaustion selling, bullish divergence. So we're in an uptrend here. So we've got to see pullback to end of trend and some kind of exhaustion buying pattern first. So let's look for where that takes us, over the next few days. In terms of better trend line, so now we're broken above the high of the trend line. So we closed back in a couple of days ago on the Monday into the consolidation zone. Yesterday we were sitting squarely in it, and now we've kind of broken above it. So we're in a little bit of an uptrend for the time being. Apple, it's been incredibly hard to trade this one unless you're kind of just sitting on it, just because it's been in this exponential kind of blow off type activity, and the better indicators, to be honest, in this kind of a move, it's almost like the blow off activity we had in gold or the blow off activity we had in crude. I mean, when they turn exponential, you get a whole series of exhaustion buying signals and bearish divergence signals kind of coming in, showing it is weakening. But it's interesting. So we topped out with a flush pattern, then we sold off into exhaustion selling down here, and then yesterday's activity, blue professional bars kind of coming into the lows here, and it's formed a pullback level here. So it kind of signaled some kind of stopping area for that Apple kind of move. So Apple's got to make pullback to end of trend, and let's see how weak that buying is to see if that kind of tops out. So in terms of Apple psychologically, I think is what the market will do, what Apple kind of does, and vice versa. So I'm kind of looking at that kind of day to day. So on to Forex. So just what's the euro doing? Weekly chart on the euro. So 2010, we sold off, huge move down in the euro, exhaustion selling activity kind of come in here, Rambo pattern right at the lows. We put in bullish divergence, flush patterns here, and then over the last year basically we've been moving down. So beginning of 2012, all these Rambo patterns kind of coming in, and all the bad news that was coming out of Europe, all the amateurs were kind of selling, expecting the euro to absolutely collapse, and it's not. And we've had these Rambo patterns and flush signals kind of coming down here. This is one of the reasons why I color my flush signals now in yellow, because they're kind of showing that blow-off activity that is kind of led by the amateurs. So Rambo patterns, yellow amateur bars, all of that is kind of amateur sequences, expecting the euro to collapse, and the euro has not collapsed. We put in a pullback, and we're about to make kind of end of trend down here when we get a cyclical cross, but it's incredibly strong. It's refusing to break down through that pullback level, and we've got in the background, we've got all this exhaustion selling where the professionals were active on the way down buying this thing, and then the amateurs have been shorting it recently. So this pullback level, this recent high, is really an important point. And if you look at this last point here, so down on the weekly chart, as amateurs kind of coming into this 2012 type bottom, but look at the daily chart at the turn of the year. This is all those blue professional bars kind of coming in at that low. I think that was 128 kind of down here, and we had this exhaustion buying signal, which is basically a short covering rally kind of getting onto this move. And then the last time we come into exhaustion selling kind of down here, bullish divergence, we put in another bullish divergence, and daily chart is kind of holding. And on these moves down, we've had down amateur professional down bars here break the high of that, another kind of spike down professional bar here. We're breaking the highs of all of those professional bars, not the lows of those professional bars. So looks like the professionals have been acquiring on this way down. So I think the euro is going to break up and break to the upside, and so what that means is it's kind of another reason why it'll have kind of supporting strength. I mean, the news out of Europe is horrible, and we've got double dip recession, kind of confirmed recession in the UK. We've got all kinds of problems in Europe, and yet the euro's chart is kind of looking strong. The flip side of that is dollar index, and it's almost the reverse of that, because the dollar, huge component of dollar index is the euro. So dollar index kind of peaks out 2010, exhaustion buying, Rambo pattern right at the highs, bearish divergence kind of comes in, we kind of sell off. Well, the last kind of move up, so the beginning of the year here, again Rambo patterns into exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and we're sitting on a weekly chart here right at this kind of knife edge here at 79. Last time the professionals kind of came in was down here on these lows, and the amateurs have been trying to buy this breakout, and the dollar index not been happening. On the daily chart, kind of swinging down, we've had our pullback to end of trend and an exhaustion buying signal with bearish divergence. Blue professional bars here right at the high here at 81. Next time we come back in, amateur bars here at 80, and we're kind of coming back down. I know cyclical support is kind of due at some point, but we're sitting on this knife edge at 79. So I don't know how far the equities kind of rally is going to go, but the euro's looking as if it could break above what is the level on the euro, kind of above 33, 34, and then on dollar index breaking below 79, 78. So it's interesting. In terms of equities, 40,500 tip bar chart, it's just like the 45-minute chart. We've broken above resistance. This exhaustion buying signal is getting this move going, so this has got to run a little bit. 13,500, this is yesterday's activity, exhaustion buying, and there's that exhaustion selling followed by exhaustion buying, getting this move going. So we've got to see that kind of a reading on the way up here. On the 4,500 tip bar chart, we have had pullback to end of trend, quite a high reading at the end of the day, bunch of blue professional bars. So if we get some weakness tomorrow, wouldn't be surprised, but look for a gap fill or professionals to come back in to kind of keep driving this up. So for the time being, I think we're going to have a little bit of a rally, and it's all been driven by that pullback to end of trend on the daily chart. Okay, I just didn't want to trade last night, so I just took one trade, got out, set my profit target at a really easy 2.5 points, and it was done in a few minutes and just quit for the day. I don't know, it's just one of those days when it just didn't feel like trading. Also, it was kind of gap up. I don't know if we were going to have a runaway uptrend. I didn't know that we were going to have a low range day, about 7 3/4 points, which are always a little bit tricky to trade, but I was just happy to get out with a reasonable profit target and just call it quits. If you don't feel like doing it, don't push it. Just take it back off, take it easy. I might be doing that over the next few days. Anyway, so looking forward to Thursday. 83.25, long 83.25, and just checking my stops and targets. Reason for getting long, bunch of blue professional bars under resistance on the end of trend signal here. Looks like a little bit of a gathering here. Just wary that been talking about this kind of exhaustion patterns on the 1500 at the open. It's likely going to be kind of a better place to go to reverse later. So I'm just looking at this at the moment. It's kind of Rambo patterns into a flush signal here. The flush is kind of playing off this exhaustion buying signal. So I know we've got all kinds of bearish divergence patterns here, but it takes a while for a market to turn around. So let's see, I'm at a down bar. So just long 83.25. A couple of minutes later, support on 500 tip bar chart's going to come in. Kind of Rambo patterns here, but then I'm at a down bar here. So I don't know, just okay, breaking up. Just if this was end of trend, it's not exactly coinciding here with a resistance level on 4500 tip bar chart. Kind of overshot resistance here on 15. Good, this is going for a little bit of a run. Resistance come in, just broken above it. Okay. My target to 85.75. Partly because I don't feel like trading today, but partly because a couple of Rambo patterns here on 1500 tip bar chart. Just be nice to see just a little burst up. Blue professional bars kind of up here and see the end of a move. It's 11,000 on better momentum, fairly big reading. Second cyclical turn after end of trend here. So, okay, blue professional bar just come in here on this little dip, so let's see if the professionals were buying there, break above the high if we get to 85s. Okay, flush pattern just went off here with the amateurs here. So yeah, we're just having a little bit of a play back up. So if we get to 85.75, just a couple of minutes later we're just hanging around this 84 level. Just waiting for, okay, here's 85s, let's just waiting for a little bit of a pop. It's kind of getting weaker in terms of buying pressure. So, but it'd be nice to see an exhaustion signal kind of up here. So, see if we get 85.75. Just taken out 85.75. Excellent. I think that's for 2.5. And I'm just happy to leave it at that. The reason for getting out, just I don't feel like trading today, and there we go, exhaustion buying on 500 tip chart. No blue professional bars coming up here, so maybe it'll run a little bit further. Don't particularly like kind of trend breakaway up days, and it's kind of pretty late into this move. You know, with yesterday's kind of setup here from 65 to 85 plus, we're 20 plus points further on, so at some point we'll have a pullback, but I just don't want to wait for it. Yeah, so 8:51 AM, just quite happy to get out with 2.5 points and just leave it at that.